Well, let's speak to Lynn next. So, Lynn, you got a question about a hysterectomy.
Yes, I've been diagnosed with a bad back 20 years ago and arthritis lumbar 4-5. And also recently I've been diagnosed with flat feet and therefore my wound's tilting and putting pressure on my spine.
Okay.
And I was wondering whether a hysterectomy would be an option to relieve that pressure.
Zoe?
OK, so a tilted womb, just to explain what that is, so we actually call it a retroverted womb. Usually the womb sits in the pelvis and tilts slightly forward. In about 20% of people, it can tip backwards. So it can put a bit of pressure on the bowel and, in very rare cases, on the spine itself. Usually the symptoms people will get would be pain during sex, pain when using tampons, and sometimes problems moving your bowels. And the back pain is actually very, very rare. So I think in your case, it's unlikely that would be the cause of your back pain. It's much more likely to be due to the arthritis that you described in your lower lumbar spine.
And common things are common. I think you mentioned that you have got flat feet. Often a change in your posture, an abnormal posture, can actually cause pain that goes from your feet all the way to your lower back. So it might be simple things like changing your feetwear, talking to an orthotist who can help you with some inliners. Improving your gait can actually relieve the pressure on your lower back, which might be something more easier to fix than actually having a hysterectomy, which has its own associated risks as well.
Have you thought about changing your footwear?
I've already done that for a physio and had the insoles and there was no relief whatsoever.
Nothing's made any difference. OK, so what's the next step after that, then?
So the next step, if you haven't already, is to have an X-ray of your spine, which you may have had because you mentioned that there's osteoarthritis, but we also want to rule out osteoporosis, which is thinning of the bones, and that can sometimes cause what we call crush fractures, small fractures, which actually can be treated very easily surgically. If all of that's fine and you're still having problems, the next investigation will be to consider, not necessarily have, but consider an MRI, particularly if you've got any neurological symptoms, so any weakness of your legs, any pains that are shooting or going down your legs, and certainly if you experience any problems with your bowels or your bladder or your legs giving way, then you need to seek urgent medical attention.
OK, long list of things to go and do
Lynn.
there.
Hope that
Thank you.
helped.